All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is week 7 of the NAIAF Ball live show. Week 7. We have made it through 7 weeks of this so far. I am Cory Thorpe, and in case you'd forgotten, we are able to watch the YouTube comments. So as you disagree with me or agree with me, drop it in the comments. Had a great set of conversations over on YouTube, or not YouTube, on Instagram just before I went live, talking about the different teams and what their chances are. So drop them here if you're over there. Before we get started, I want to talk about our friends at AdCraft USA. Guys, they are the real deal in custom apparel, merch, and uniforms. They do it right. They know the small college experience. They have kids that go to these small colleges. They are invested in the NAIA. And these guys are experts. Uniforms, merch, custom apparel. I forgot to put my headphones on because I usually don't wear headphones. So pardon me, I have headphones tonight. So reach them at AdCraft USA. They are fantastic to work with, taking care of everything for you and taking the stress out of doing the ordering process and fundraising process for that. So as we get going here, let's take a look at the scoreboard. It was an incredible week on the gridiron. We have a couple upsets here. We have Indiana Wesleyan defeating Marion 41-7 in what was not a particularly close game. Indiana Wesleyan hit Marion in the mouth from the first kickoff and didn't look back. Credit the Indiana Wesleyan defense here, holding Marion to negative 13 yards rushing. That does include some sacks there, trying to find my sack yardage there. That does include 6 sacks for 48 yards. So if you take out that yardage due to sacks, you're still only talking about 52 minus 48 there. Just an incredibly dominant performance by the Indiana Wesleyan defense there in that game. Do want to point out Devodney Alford, who was a beast all day, 128 yards, 2 scores for the running back. Xander Stokes was very efficient, 12 of 19 for 259 yards and 2 touchdowns of his own. Great game if you're an Indiana Wesleyan fan. If you're a Marion fan, not so much. For Avila, Kansas Wesleyan, this was a close game. Kansas Wesleyan just did not let go of the ball. 9 of 18 on third down, 1 of 3 on fourth. 13 yards per pass for them, and they finished drives 4 of 5 in the red zone, 1 of 4 in the red zone for Avila. Isaiah Randall has just been a great piece for Kansas Wesleyan this year. 23 of 33 this week for 301 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Stevie Williams and Aaron Jenkins both crossed the century mark with 7 catches apiece. Like I was saying beforehand, on the pre-show, Kansas Wesleyan's wide receiver core is one of the best, if not the best, in this league. Bethel defeats Southwestern in double OT, 37-31. Just a great game, good close game. We thought it looked like Southwestern was going to beat Bethel. Early, it was 14-7. Bethel comes storming back. Just a great back and forth game. Only 45 yards on the ground for the Mound Builders on 24 attempts. Just a really good effort by the Thresher defense there in that game, and that is the difference. Olivet Nazarene upsets St. Xavier, as much as you're going to call that an upset, 45-38. Olivet Nazarene, even with having 11 fewer first downs than St. Xavier, stays on the field, 63% on third down compared to St. Xavier's 42%. They were just able to stay out there and grind out St. Xavier, keep that offense off the field for the Wildcats. You know, St. Xavier has the pick there, and in a one-score game, that might just do it. And then out west, Rocky Mountain does not succumb to the zombie-like nature of the Frontier Conference. They best Eastern Oregon 34-17. Eastern Oregon has lost 3 games in a row. 3 interceptions by Kai Quinn really did just give away too many possessions in what would have been an otherwise very close game. So that is a look at your scoreboard. This beautiful picture is a great picture of the work done by our friends at Maumee Bay Turf and Turf Nation Sportsfield Constructors. I know I'm doing a lot of baseball stuff, but it is baseball season for our friends in the turf industry. It's hard to work on a football field when they're playing football. But if you would like to take a look at what your field could look like, whether that be baseball, whether that be soccer, I know soccer's going on too, softball, football. If you need a new surface and you're looking to save some money, get with our friends at Maumee Bay Turf and Turf Nation. The guys over there will set you up right with great service. And again, like we said about AdCraft, Maumee Bay is involved in small college athletics. They know what your budgets look like. They know what that feels like to be crunched, and they can help save you some money in the long term by going to turf over grass. And you'll have a beautiful end product just like this baseball diamond. So let's take a look at our Week 6 players of the week. On the offensive side, we have Anthony Sims, who sets a school record with 6 rushing touchdowns, 203 yards rushing for the tailback from Iowa. Just a great game for Anthony Sims. It had some absurd number like 600 yards or something across a 2-half stretch. Just absurd numbers from Anthony Sims. And of course, when we give a player of the week to a running back, we always have to credit the offensive line that paves the way for him. Running back ain't nothing without his offensive line. So congratulations both to Anthony Sims and that Mustang offensive line. Defensively, we've got Kaiser's Victor Alvarez Jr., who made his presence felt on Saturday. 11 tackles, 4.5 of those for loss, including 3 sacks and a forced fumble in their win. Just a great impact game for Victor Alvarez. We will talk about them a little bit later. They have a big Sun Conference game upcoming for what could be a deciding game in the Sun Division. And now we turn to the top 25 media poll. This is a reminder that this is the media poll. This is not the coaches poll. This is the media poll. In as much as we love our poll, we are aware that it does not impact playoff rankings at all. But it is a great alternative to see, and a lot of times does end up leading the coaches poll by a few weeks. See St. Thomas's entrance this week into the coaches poll. So, beginning at number 25, you got Bethel of Tennessee, who knocks off Georgetown in an upset and comes back into the top 25. That's just a great performance there. It was always Bethel's game there against Georgetown. At number 24, you've got the College of Idaho. The Yotes defeat Montana Tech 28-23 in their matchup. At number 23, you've got Southwestern, who, as we said before, lost to Bethel in double overtime, 37-31. St. Xavier drops a few spots here after their loss to Olivet Nazarene, and Langston comes up a couple spots here at number 21. At number 20, Rocky Mountain jumps up a little bit after their win over Eastern Oregon, 34-17. They're in that top 20. Dordt at number 19 at 4-1. What can you say about the defenders? You've still got to play both Morningside and Northwestern. That's going to be a season-defining couple of games for the defenders. At number 18, Valley City State. The guys are rabid up there in Valley City. They jump up 4 spots there at their 6-0 record. We'll just have to see. Like I told them before, you just got to beat Dickinson State. If you want to make the playoffs, you got to beat Dickinson State. At number 17, Georgetown falls 7 spots after their loss to Bethel. They are at 4-1. Olivet Nazarene goes up a couple spots to number 16. The Tigers are 4-1 and have a very nice number of votes there. Olivet Nazarene is now the front runner to win the Midwest. They just have to keep doing their job and finish their business. Tied for 14th are Marion after their defeat at the hands of Indiana Wesleyan, 41-7, and St. Thomas, who improves to 6-0 on the season. St. Thomas, we keep talking about it. Their big game is coming up against both Southeastern and Kaiser. You beat those two teams, and you're into the playoffs for sure. At number 13 is Faulkner. Faulkner will be 6-0 after this week, after Union had to forfeit due to COVID protocols. They will be moving to 6-0. They played a really nice game against Point 45-14, finally pulled away from the Skyhawks. Bethel at number 12 stays the same here after they defeated Southwestern, as previously mentioned, in double overtime. They have to keep going in a good matchup this week. We'll talk about that in a minute. And at number 11, Ottawa of Arizona defeats Texas College 48-6. You see that matchup between Ottawa of Arizona and Langston just looming larger and larger for the Spirit. And at number 10, Indiana Wesleyan joins the top 10 of our poll after they defeat Marion 41-7. Reinhardt gets back into the top 10 after their win over Bluefield 49-35. Kaiser stays the same but drops a couple of points at number 8. It was a close game against Kentucky Christian. And if they want to keep this number 8 ranking, they're going to have to play better than they did against Kentucky Christian to keep that number 8 ranking, especially with their matchup with Southeastern coming up on Saturday. At number 7, Baker jumps a couple spots to number 7. They had a bye week last week. They will match up with Mid-American Nazarene this coming Saturday. And at number 6, we have Kansas Wesleyan, who dispatched Avila 30-20. Kansas Wesleyan plays McPherson this weekend. And our top 5, we finally have a slightly new top 5. Concordia takes advantage of the Marion loss. They defeated Siena Heights 20-10 in a matchup that wasn't as close as that sounded. Grandview had a bye last week. They will get back on the horse, opening up conference play against William Penn. Northwestern stays steady at number 3. They play at Jamestown's new field. At number 2, you've got Morningside, who plays Briarcliff. And at number 1, the reigning champs, the Lindsey Wilson Blue Raiders, who we'll talk about in just a minute. But as for us, here's a look at your top 25 as we take a quick break.
Hey, this is Cameron Dukes from the national champions Lindsey Wilson Blue Raiders, and this is NAIAFBALL.
All right, and we are back. And just as a note, yes, the coaches poll is out. It was a little later today than usual. Not terribly much going on there. Pretty much par for the course there in the coaches poll. So, what are we watching for this weekend? Well, I'll tell you. Lindsey Wilson hosts Georgetown in what is one of the first couple of big tests for Lindsey Wilson there. Yes, Kaiser was a test. This is one that's going to determine where they are going to stand and if they're going to keep that number 1 ranking. Georgetown's going to be fighting mad, though, after their loss. Lindsey Wilson will have to play really well in order to get this victory. I do see the Blue Raiders with a freshly healthy Cameron Dukes taking this matchup versus Georgetown. In the continuance of the KCAC in-season quote-unquote tournament, we have Bethel hosting the Avila Eagles. Avila has 2 losses and is out of the playoff race. However, they can play spoiler for Bethel, who has 1 loss. Any loss for the Threshers just sinks their hopes of a playoff bid. So that game is definitely one to watch. You may wonder in this next game of Marion versus St. Francis why I would put a game like this where St. Francis is unranked in my games to watch. Well, that's because it's the Franciscan Bowl. And just like any of your other big rivalry matchups, whether it be Alabama-Auburn, whether it be Florida State or Florida State-Miami or Ohio State-Michigan, when this game is played, you can basically toss the records out. Marion and St. Francis are going to give each other the best game that they can play. Marion's going to be mad after losing that game to Indiana Wesleyan, and St. Francis just wants to get back up and get a little bit more respect on their name there. I'm going to take Marion in this matchup. I did not say I was taking Bethel and Avila. I am taking the Threshers. The Threshers continue to roll. And finally, we have Langston versus Texas Wesleyan in Langston's first real test of the season. This is going to be a great matchup. I think I'm going to take Langston, but I do expect it to be a very close game here and definitely one worth watching. And finally, let's talk about our patrons. Our patrons are the ones that keep us going. They're the ones that really do make this something that we can keep going. They help pay the way to the national championship game for us. Yes, Roger. Bowl season starts Saturday. Indeed, it does. So, always like to run down and say thank you to the following people: Ace Wellen, Cordell, Austin Steele, Jody Hoagland, Jerry Quickle, Alex Garcia, Eric Wingard, Nathan, Ronnie Atkinson, Fred Christensen, Shirley Labella, Jeremy Vobble, Trisha Prescott, Roger Meyer, Dylan Swears, David, Bob Boone, Cliff Kreisel, Darren, Brett Kroschel, Danielle Quinn, DSU Cone, Ian Sweeney, Blake Sentman, Keith, Charlie Simmons, Marty Seabolt, Justin Cobb, Dane, Nick Bazell, Hayden Ferrigno, Steve Card, Marty McFly, Cam and Cam World, Cliff Nine, and A. Hemerson, Art Kastner, and Jeff. Those are the folks that keep us in business. If you want to get early access to things like the viewing guide or access to John's picks, join us on Patreon, patreon.com/NAIAFBall. Definitely, guys, it is the best way to support what we do. If you enjoy it and want to see more of it, I would recommend doing that. It is, like I said, the best way to support our channel. It is the best way to support small college athletics and small college football. So, before we go, just want to remind the folks at Reinhardt that we'll be at the Reinhardt Faulkner game in just under 2 weeks now. Let me know. I'll come by. I'll swing by tailgates. Let me know. I'll come say hi, come shake your hand. I love to see and meet the people who watch our show, that support us. It will never not be cool to meet y'all. This is definitely a one-way medium, mostly, especially on the live show. And so, any ability to see y'all and to shake y'all's hand is a cool feeling. So let me know on that. Otherwise, I'm watching those YouTube comments. So if anyone wants to chime in, and we'll talk. Heck, we'll even talk a little early bracketology if y'all want. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. I wanted to do it. I tried to do it. I really, really did try. But with a lot of teams having just entered quote unquote conference play, it is really hard to do bracketology just yet. A lot of the folks in the top 10 just need to win. But that's definitely for most teams. Most teams haven't cleared their big hurdles yet. Lindsey Wilson hasn't cleared Georgetown. They haven't cleared Cumberland's. Bethel still needs to clear Avila to have a shot and root for Kansas Wesleyan loss. Pull up the NAIA rankings here. It's great radio. Pull up the new rankings and see. And then we'll just go down. Lindsey Wilson's got to defeat at least Cumberland's, I think. You might be able to get away with a loss versus Georgetown, but I wouldn't want to try it. Northwestern needs to win one of Morningside and Dordt. Same thing except for reversed for Morningside. Morningside needs to win at least one of Northwestern and Dordt. Grandview hasn't even started divisional play yet. Concordia needs to still play Marion. They do have, I think, a game that they can drop and still be fine making the playoffs. Kaiser has still got to play Southeastern and St. Thomas. You've got to win both of those games. You from the Sun Division, you've got to win out. Let's see. Baker hasn't started divisional play yet. Kansas Wesleyan. The easiest way is just to win out. You've beaten Bethel. You've beaten Avila. Beat Southwestern and you're in. lose to Southwestern, and it gets much muddier. I do not know that the KCAC is going to get in 2 teams. Ottawa, they're one team that they really, really have to vanquish that's left is Langston. Beat Langston, and you're good. Indiana Wesleyan has no room for error. You've got to you've got to win out from this point on if you want a shot at making the playoffs. Reinhardt's the same way. You have that loss in there to Bethel of Tennessee. That may prove problematic. Beat Faulkner, beat Kentucky Christian, and you've got it sewn up. Marion is another one of those teams that there's no room for error. If you drop another game, you're done. Valley City State, like we said earlier in the show, you've got to beat Dickinson State. If you can beat Dickinson State, then you're good to go. You're in. You're in like Flynn. Just beat Dickinson. Bethel of Kansas. I thought I mentioned them before. Bethel has no room for error. You've got a loss. You lose again, you're done. You have, if you lose to Avila, you're done. If you win against Avila, you have a chance. You got to root for chaos. Faulkner has to beat Reinhardt in order to get in there. Rocky just needs to not fall prey to the Frontier zombiness. They're right on the edge. I'd be a little frightened if I were Rocky. If Rocky loses, unless it's to Montana Western, the Frontier may not get a team in. And I hate saying that, but same thing. Same thing for Valley City State. If Valley City State loses to anybody, let's say Valley City loses to Dickinson, I don't know that Dickinson's not even receiving votes. It's going to be hard for the North Star to get in the playoffs. And let's see who else is in the top 20. Dort's got to beat both Northwestern and Morningside. They're just too far down to lose to one of them and still make the playoffs. Southwestern has lost to Avila and Kansas Wesleyan. They're done. Did I mention Olivet Nazarene? I thought I did. No, I totally skipped like 3 teams. Olivet Nazarene, just beat Roosevelt. If you can beat Roosevelt, you should be good. There should be no other teams that you're going to lose to. And Georgetown's, you got to upset Lindsay. If you don't, it gives you no room for error. You may not get in. It just depends on how you look. So that is some really way too early bracketology. Thank you so much for hanging with me. It is a pleasure. It is an honor to do this every week for y'all. Make sure that you subscribe to us. It is so vitally important that we get to 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours. Heck, even if y'all want to like put us on at work and just like keep us in the background on another screen or something and just play old live shows, you'd make my day. You'd make my week. That would be great. I would love y'all forever. So until next week, keep your eyes locked on that timeline for the latest in NAIA football scores and stats. You can find us at NAIAFBALL, giving you the most up-to-date, the most accurate, the most unbiased information that you're going to find in the world of NAIA football. I am Cory Thorpe for my co-host, John Cooper. We're signing off.